Today is Monday, November 18th. We'll tell you about President-elect Trump's record pace to fill his cabinet, including some controversial steps he's taking to get it done, as well as his latest picks. Also, President Biden has reportedly made a major policy shift when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war. Also, what you need to know about an E. coli outbreak linked to organic carrots, and why there were thousands of complaints about the highly anticipated fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Those stories and even more news to know to start your week next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. President-elect Trump is filling up his second administration at record pace. He took, on average, 8 days post-election to make 12 cabinet-level picks. In comparison, President Biden and former President Obama each took almost 40 days. So how is Trump doing it? Well, for starters, Trump has reportedly been thinking about his choices for a while, as in since before Election Day. But also, CNN cites sources who say the transition team is bypassing the traditional FBI background checks for some of his picks, and that instead, it's going through private companies to vet his potential candidates. Trump and his allies apparently think the FBI system is too slow and plagued with issues. But critics suspect the Trump team just wants to avoid potential setbacks in the confirmation process, just in case the FBI turns up any damaging information. Already, we've told you about some of his controversial choices, like Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary, and former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. Skeptics have said none of them have enough experience needed to serve in such a high-level capacity. But some of Trump's allies, like House Speaker Mike Johnson and the president-elect's son, Donald Trump Jr., say any pushback just shows the transition team is picking the kind of disruptors voters have demanded. Over the weekend, President-elect Trump continued to round out his team. For starters, Trump said he would nominate an oil industry executive to lead the Department of Energy. He picked the CEO of Liberty Energy, Chris Wright, who just last year said there was no climate crisis. President-elect Trump also chose a press secretary, one of his close aides, Caroline Leavitt, who at 27 will be the youngest person to ever hold the job. Next, Trump decided he wants the top Republican at the FCC, Brendan Carr, to be the commission's new chairman. Carr has long been a critic of big tech and says in this position he'll take on what he sees as censorship and fights over free speech. The press secretary and FCC chairman will not need to be confirmed by the Senate, so they'll be able to get right to work. But many of Trump's other picks could have a hard time getting approved, as Democrats and even some Republicans have raised concerns, and not just because of political differences. 2 of the new cabinet choices have actually faced accusations of sexual misconduct. There's Matt Gaetz, who, as we've mentioned before, has been under investigation for sex trafficking a minor, among other things. He has always said he did nothing wrong. Allegations have also now surfaced about Trump's choice for defense secretary, Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Police apparently investigated an allegation that he sexually assaulted a woman back in 2017, and Hegseth admits he eventually paid the woman who accused him to stay quiet, though he says the interaction was consensual and he was never charged with a crime. At this point, the Trump transition team is standing behind all of its picks so far, calling them the strongest candidates. Still, there are apparently backup plans in case there are issues with the Senate confirmation process. It looks like there's a major policy shift from the U.S. when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war. The AP is citing sources who say, for the first time, President Biden has given Ukraine the go-ahead to use U.S.-supplied long-range weapons to strike deep into Russian territory. This lifting of restrictions comes at a time North Korea has sent around 10,000 of its troops to help Russian forces retake territory, and after Russia just launched its largest aerial attack against Ukraine in months. Ukraine's president has been urging Biden for a while now to allow Ukraine to strike military targets inside Russia to try and stop Russian attacks before they happen. But Biden had held off until now, arguing any escalation could draw the U.S. and other NATO members into direct conflict with Russia. For now, the White House is not commenting publicly about this reported policy change. President Biden urged China's leader, Xi Jinping, to get North Korea to pull back its support of Russia in the war against Ukraine. The leaders of the world's 2 biggest economies met over the weekend for the last time while Biden is president. It was on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Peru. Biden and Xi reportedly also made a surprise agreement not to give artificial intelligence any control of nuclear weapons systems. Looking ahead, Xi said Beijing is ready to work with a new U.S. administration, emphasizing that stable relations between China and the U.S. is critical. President Biden has now become the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Amazon rainforest. Biden stopped in Brazil to take an aerial tour. The massive Amazon region has been through years of drought and has seen destruction from both climate change and development. Biden also met with local and indigenous leaders yesterday there and designated November 17th as International Conservation Day. Biden was hoping to mark what the White House called his historic climate legacy. He announced he had fulfilled a pledge to increase international climate aid to $11 billion a year. Noting that he's about to leave office, Biden checked off other climate accomplishments and said his efforts won't be easily reversed. But he said he'll leave his successor a strong foundation to build on, quote, if they choose to do so. President-elect Trump has vowed to roll back Biden's clean energy incentives when he takes office in January. Next up, Biden heads to Rio de Janeiro for the G20 summit. All right, we have more news for you still ahead. But first, this episode is brought to you by SKIMS. It's that time of year. I've officially gotten serious with the lists on my notes app for what to get my loved ones for the holidays. I love finding that perfect gift for the most important people in my life. And at least one of those things this year is going to come from the SKIMS holiday shop, the Cozy Robe. You can actually get it for everyone in the family. And I know how great it is already because I have one myself and I adore this robe from SKIMS. As the weather turns cooler, I'm so glad to be able to reach for my SKIMS Cozy Robe when I get out of the shower. It is super soft, warm, and comfortable. It's pieces like this that really make the holidays and this time of year feel extra special. And that's just one of many things I'm loving right now from the SKIMS holiday shop. Definitely go check it out for both yourself and your friends and family. Shop SKIMS holiday shop at skims.com. Available in styles for women, men, kids, and even pets. If you haven't yet, be sure to let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show, The Newsworthy, in the drop-down menu that follows. Okay, now back to the news. A sweeping new study found the vast majority of American adults are overweight, and the problem could get worse. Researchers looking at rates of overweight and obese adults say around 3/4 of U.S. adults now fall into one of these categories. And that's compared to a little more than half of adults in 1990. And people are becoming overweight or obese at earlier ages. More than 1/3 of American children are overweight or obese. If nothing changes the trend, researchers say there could be 260 million obese or overweight adults in the U.S. by 2050. Researchers say it's alarming because these conditions increase the likelihood of things like diabetes, kidney disease, and heart attacks, among others. One estimate says obesity will cost the nation more than $9 trillion in the next decade alone. As far as what to do about it, well, one of the researchers called the rate of overweight and obese adults an epidemic, saying it should be tackled with the national resources that would be used for any other epidemic. People involved in the research also argued individual lifestyle changes like diet and exercise are only part of the solution, saying systemic and policy changes are needed too, like taxes on sugary drinks or warning labels on processed food. All right, check your refrigerators. A deadly E. coli outbreak has been linked to carrots sold at major grocery chains across the country. The CDC says nearly 40 people in 18 different states have reported getting sick so far. At least 15 of them have had to be hospitalized, and one person died. The outbreak is linked to a California supplier named Grimway Farms, which provides carrots for several national brands, including Trader Joe's, Walmart, Wegmans, and Whole Foods. It affects organic whole and organic baby carrots. The whole carrots now recalled were available in stores from August 14th to October 23rd, but don't have a best by date. The organic baby carrots have best if used by dates from September 11th to November 12th. You can check out the full list of the recalled items using the link in today's episode notes on our website. The YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul was the winner, defeating legendary boxer Mike Tyson, who came out of retirement for this much-hyped fight streamed live on Netflix. The 27-year-old influencer won a unanimous decision over the 58-year-old former heavyweight champ Friday night. The fight went the full 8 rounds, but many viewers said it was more hype than substance, with Paul and Tyson both reluctant to throw big punches. Paul even said he started going easy on Tyson starting in the 3rd round. It was the first time Netflix aired a boxing match live, and the streamer had mixed results. It said 60 million people tuned in to watch the Paul-Tyson fight, which apparently shattered records, but tens of thousands of viewers complained of technical issues during the live stream. A couple more things to tell you about when it comes to entertainment. First, Conan O'Brien will return to network TV as host of the Academy Awards for the first time. O'Brien will take the stage for the Oscars March 2nd next year. As far as movies competing to win the box office this past weekend, the new action-packed Christmas film Red One took the top spot, but it still posted disappointing numbers for its debut weekend. The holiday film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Chris Evans, with The Rock starring as Santa's bodyguard. But it only managed to bring in $34 million in North America against a budget estimated at somewhere between $200 and $250 million. There was one clear winner this weekend. Miss Denmark became the first Danish person ever to win the Miss Universe title. She beat out more than 120 contestants from around the world, finishing above first runner-up Miss Nigeria and second runner-up Miss Mexico. Miss USA is an active duty Army lieutenant, but did not make the final 12. Well, that's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, this episode is brought to you by Hiya Health. As busy parents, I'm guessing you do not want to have one more thing you have to keep track of, but you do want your kids to have everything they need to thrive, which is why I love Hiya's best-selling children's vitamins. They come straight to your door each month, so you don't have to think twice about it. But even more than that, I chose Hiya because they have zero sugar and zero gummy junk and are instead a pediatrician-approved chewable vitamin that my little boy seriously looks forward to having every morning. I also love that you get this great convenient bottle with your first order, and then they just send you eco-friendly refills every month, so it's easy and convenient. You even get stickers that your kids can decorate the bottle with. My kiddo enjoyed putting his name on it. He actually got to do the vitamins bottle and the probiotics bottle since we are big fans of both, and he takes both each morning. So we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. The deal is not available on their regular website, so go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Okay, now back to Money Monday. So it seems like there's a new way Americans are watching TV and managing their budgets for streaming. New data shows more people than ever will cancel a streaming subscription only to sign up for it again later. The analytics firm Antenna found in 2024, more than a third of people who canceled a streaming subscription rejoined the canceled service within a year. This type of strategy is forcing streaming services to stay on top of their game, producing more high-quality content, hit series, and can't-miss live events to try to stop people from unsubscribing, or at least bring them back quickly. That said, many of these companies are leaning into this concept. So, for example, Hulu allows users to select the number of weeks they'd like to pause, and Netflix is letting subscribers stop for up to 3 months at a time. Thank you so much for joining us today and making us part of your daily routine. We will be back with even more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.